And we are back. Welcome to the New Year's predictions video. The Premier League is now back and up and running. And after what was a fairly exciting and, to be fair, kind of expected way the opening games went on Boxing Day, we now move on to the next set of fixtures. And like I said in the last video, we are not going to go through my predictions from last time. We're just going to get straight in to the fixtures for this week. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any of these videos. And of course, drop a like if you are enjoying this series. Let's just get straight into it. So we start off with West Ham up against Brentford in the first of tonight's games. And I don't know if I have an agenda against Brentford, but I seem like I always predict for them to lose, and I'm going to predict them to lose again. I'm going to go for 2-1 to West Ham. Obviously, Brentford had another good result last time out against Spurs, but I don't know, as good as they always seem, I just never feel like I see enough from them. And this is a game, especially at home, I'd expect West Ham to win. So I'm going to go for 2-1 to West Ham in that one. The other game this evening sees Liverpool taking on Leicester. It has already been confirmed that James Maddison will not be available for Leicester. So I don't really think there's much chance Leicester are going to cause Liverpool many problems in tonight's game. I'm going to go for 4-1 to Liverpool. I expect them to blow them away. They played really well last time out against Aston Villa on the offensive front. Not so great defensively, which is why I've still given Leicester a goal. I still think Leicester have plenty of opportunities to get some goals, as Aston Villa did last time out. But in the end, I expect Liverpool to take this one pretty comfortably. On to tomorrow's fixtures, and we start with Wolves against my club, again, Manchester United. And I'm pretty confident about this one. If you watched my reaction video the other day, you would have seen that I did say that if we played the same way that we did in the last game, that we should realistically be winning this one. So I'm going to go for 2-0 to Manchester United. Not as convincing as the win against Nottingham Forest, but even with it being Lopetegui's first game in charge of Wolves at home, I expect this to be a fixture that Manchester United take reasonably comfortably. On to the 3 o'clocks then, and we start with Bournemouth and Crystal Palace. And this is probably the hardest one, I would say, to pick this week. Crystal Palace off the back of their rather humiliating defeat to Fulham with 2 players sent off, both of which are now going to be suspended for this game, leaving them very spare at the back. And of course Bournemouth, who I thought put a reasonably good display in against Chelsea, but obviously wasn't enough with the quality that Chelsea have available to them. So with all of that said, I'm going to go for a Bournemouth win, and I'm going to go for 2-1 in that one. Next up, it is the team that did humiliate Crystal Palace, and that is Fulham. And they take on a team that were also rather humiliated in Southampton last time out. And essentially, for no other reasoning other than that, I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Fulham. I think this is a game, if you look at current form, even before the World Cup break, this is a game you'd expect Fulham to win. They have a very good home record, and Southampton really just aren't in a good place right now. So I'm going to go 3-0 Fulham. I don't think I need to say much more about that. Next up, it is Manchester City up against Everton. And, I mean, this is just another one of them games where you ask the question of how many Man City are going to win by. Do I think Everton could potentially steal a win? Sure, it's the Premier League. Anything could happen. No one expected Brentford to go and win there in Man City's last home game in the league. But we have to go for a Manchester City win in this one. And to be honest, the way Everton have played the last few times out, I'm going to go for 5-0 to Manchester City. Next up, it is Newcastle up against Leeds. And again, I don't really think there's much more to say about this other than I just thoroughly expect Newcastle to win this one fairly easily. I'm going to go for 3-0 once again. Quite a popular scoreline for me this week. And yeah, I just think Leeds, they did all right against Man City. But if you look at the amount of open goals that Grealish missed and other chances that Haaland could have taken, City could have won by way more than what they actually did. And the way Newcastle are playing right now, it's unclear if Callum Wilson will be available for this one as it currently stands. But even if it's Wood or if they bring St Maximin back in, or what, they'll win this one pretty easily, I think, Newcastle. So I'm going to go for 3-0 in that one. The final game in tomorrow's fixtures sees Brighton taking on Arsenal. And this is probably the other really tough one to call this week. Brighton have a fantastic record this season and against the top opposition so far this season as well. They're looking very good at home. Unsure if McAllister's going to play in this one. There are rumours he could be back for this game. Arsenal, obviously, are going to stick with, I would imagine, the same side that played last time out. I'm just going to edge it to Arsenal. I was surprised, I'll be honest. Obviously, I went for a draw with West Ham last time. I was surprised how well Arsenal played in that second half to get the 3-1 win against West Ham. So I'm going to back them in this one. They are the league leaders, deservedly so. And as well as Brighton have been playing, I still think if Arsenal play to their full potential, they'll just have a little bit too much for Brighton. But wouldn't surprise me to see Brighton get a result in this. But just for now, based off of the last game, I'm going to go for Arsenal. And finally, we move on to the final day of fixtures in Game Week 18, starting with Tottenham and Aston Villa. And I'm going to go for Tottenham to win again. I went for them to win last time out, and obviously they didn't. And I know Aston Villa played well against Liverpool and missed all the chances, as we spoke about earlier, but I still think Tottenham have enough to win this game, especially at home. I'd obviously like them not to, as a Manchester United fan, as we're fighting for that place in the top four. But I'm going to go I thought I was going to go 2-1. I've actually gone for 3-1 to Spurs in this one. And I think Villa will score. Spurs have been very poor defensively, especially in the first half. It's something they really need to sort out. And you never know, today or this week might be that day. But I'm going to go 3-1 Spurs. I expect them to win, but could be an interesting one. Villa could definitely get a result in that one. And finally, it is Forest up against Chelsea. Forest will obviously have Dean Henderson back in goal after Hennessy's mistakes against Henderson's parent club, Manchester United, last time out. Chelsea, of course, off the back of their relatively convincing win against Bournemouth going into this one. I would expect Chelsea to get the win. They looked good. They look like they're building for the future. Already 2 signings secured for January as well, which will put pressure on the players currently in the starting lineup. So I expect Chelsea to get the win. I'm going to go for 2-0 to them. And that is going to be it for this week. As always, let me know down in the comments what you think of my predictions and, of course, what you think is going to happen in this week's games. I will be back very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching.